Yeah, hey everyone, I'm back. Thanks for tuning into the channel. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate everyone subscribing to this. Today I have 6 knots for you. It's the ones that I use, and I'm going to tell you exactly what they're used for and why. And they'll pretty much get you through any situation as far as fishing goes. So let's get to it. Hey, so the first one is, it's a terminal knot. It's called the San Diego jam knot. And I learned this obviously sport fishing down in San Diego for years. So it's a really strong knot and it's easy to tie. So the first thing you do is obviously go through the eye. Go through like there, okay? And then you're gonna come up here and put your finger in here like this. And you're gonna start making some wraps like this. Okay, and then you're going to go through this bottom loop here, just like this, and then back up through this loop right here like this. You're going to wet it and pull it down. There you go. What's really great about this knot, I'm just showing you with braid. Most of the time this is either going to be done with fluoro or with monoliter. But what's so good about this knot is it stays loose while you're pulling it down, and it doesn't burn the line. So it's really a great knot and it's super strong. So that's number one. Okay, for the second knot, everyone's gonna know this one. It's called the improved clinch knot. This is the one we learned to tie when we were kids. I have a little bit different take on it. So the San Diego jam knot, the one I just showed you, I'm gonna use that probably 90% of the time. This improved clinch knot I'm going to use if I'm in a hurry because it's really fast to tie, or if I'm on a boat and it's rocking around. So you basically put it through the eye, you start twisting up your lure or weight or hook or whatever you're doing, okay? And you're going to feed it through this bottom loop down here. And then what I do, what makes this knot really strong, is you're going to go through once and you're going to wrap through twice like that, okay? And it really makes a big difference. And then you're going to draw down on it like that. Okay, another really strong knot. And it's a lot stronger than people think. People don't give this knot a lot of credit, but if you run it through a second time, again, this is going to be with mono, super strong knot. That's number 2. Okay, and the last terminal knot I'm going to show you is called a loop knot or trilene loop knot. There's different terminology for it, but basically you're going to just simply make a loop back here like this. Okay, so you're going to have a loop like this, and the reason you're going to use this one is, one example is if you're fishing for tuna and you don't have a ring hook and you want that hook to have a little bit of movement, you can do it just with this knot because you're creating a loop. And the other reason you may use this is same thing with a crankbait. You want to give that crankbait a little bit more maneuverability. It's another great knot to use. So you push it through here like this. You're going to go through the loop down here like this. Okay, so that's what it's looking like so far. And then you're just going to wrap it around like this. And then you're going to come back through this hole down here like this. You're going to just pull on this a little, get a little bit of that slack out of there. Okay? And then you're going to wet it down and you're going to pull it tight and you have a nice loop knot. You're going to cut this little tag end off. And you can get this loop really tight. I'm just showing you for argument's sake, or for loop making the knot, okay? Really good knot. Okay, the next 3 knots are going to be braid to leader. And I'm going to tell you why I use each one. So these are the 3 that I'll use most all the time. Okay, first one is an Albright knot or an Alberto knot. Basically, you're going to make a loop in your line. I like to pinch it a little bit like here at the end, just a little bit. Kind of fold the line down. So basically, you have a line that looks like that. And you're going to run this braid up through here. This, okay, and you're going to start wrapping over both of the pieces of monofilament like this. Okay, then you're going going to start wrapping backwards. And then you're going to push through this loop like this. Okay, so it's looking like that. You're going to start pulling down. You're going to grab the one end of braid and the other end here, and you're going to just cinch down on this sucker. And look at that. What a nice knot that is, okay? So really good knots, really fast. I'll use this if I need a short leader and my knot is outside of the guides. Okay, so if I'm using braid in for example, if I'm using a moving bait where it doesn't need to be as stealthy, you can use this knot, okay? Because what happens is that the tag end is reversed right there. Okay, so if you try to cast it out your guides, it's gonna hang up on that. And you don't want that, so you want this outside of your guide. Okay, so this is the Alberto, great knot, fast. No problems, just have the knot outside your guide. Okay, the next one is a knot that they call the Tony Pena. That's what I've come to know it. It's probably my favorite knot. It's my go-to knot. And I use this one if I need a longer leader, like on my finesse rods, on my drop shot rod, my grub rod, my Ned rod. And basically, because when I show you what the knot does, it forms a carrot or a ramp. And it goes out through your guide a lot easier when you cast it, okay? So you're gonna overlap your lines like this. Okay. You're gonna take this monofilament and go over 1, 2, 3. And then you're gonna pull this tight, wet it a little bit. Get it tight like that, okay? So now you're left with a knot like that. Then, you're going to take this and make a little loop like that. You're going to start wrapping this line behind it. And you can wet that to help it lay down a little bit. It's a little bit harder with this bigger braid, but we'll make it work. This is a 100-pound braid. Usually like 7 or 8 times up. Then you can start coming back. This mono's pretty big that I'm using too. Now you're going to go through this hole right here like this, okay? Then you're going to put this in your teeth and you're going to start drawing this thing down, okay? And obviously you're going to use a puller or something like that to get this thing really tight. But this is a really, really sweet knot. Like I said, it's probably my favorite. Let's cut this, trim this up a little bit. And the reason is like I said, is because it forms like a ramp leading up to the, if I pull this tighter it gets better, up to the knot, and it just goes out through the guides so much easier. See how the tag end is coming out the other way? So you can reel this all the way down just before it goes onto your reel. So you can have like a 12, 10 to 12 foot leader. And it's really good for in the ocean. It's great for live baiting, fly lining. It's great for finesse drop shot presentations in fresh water. So beautiful, beautiful knot. Okay, it's a great one. Okay, the last one's pretty similar, and you've probably heard of it. It's a double uni. I'll use this one if I have to connect a top shot to braid, which is way down in the spool, or if I have to connect braid to braid way down in the spool. If I, like, for instance, if I lost a lot of braid during a fight, like on a saltwater expedition or something, and I need to refill the spool with braid, this double uni works really, really good. But either way, I always use this one down deep in the spool, okay? So this one is basically, you're basically gonna take your line like this and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like this. You're gonna pull this tight, okay? A little spit on there, and then you're gonna do the other side, same, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They say you should go more with the braid because it's smaller and slipperier, but you get the idea here. So, okay. So now you have kind of 2 knots, and as soon as you start pulling these together, okay, they will form up and they'll jam against each other. Look at that. See that? Isn't that beautiful? Okay, so we're going to cut that. Like that. And like that. Okay. So these really are the 6 knots that you can get away with 95% of the time. There's a couple other specialty knots like an FG, a spider hitch, a surgeon's, and I can do another video on those, but the FG just takes a while to tie, and I just don't ever really have a need for it unless I need a really long fluorocarbon leader and it has to go onto the spool. That's the only time I'll use it. If I have if I need a 20 or 25 or 30 foot leader, I'll do an FG. If the line is thicker, but if it's under 10-pound braid and if it's thin mono, I'll still use the Tony Pena. Okay, those are the knots I use, the 6 knots that I use 95% of the time. They work really well for me. I haven't had any issues, but in the end, you really have to just tie the knot that you're most comfortable with. And tight lines, everyone. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate all the new subscribers. I'm trying to grow my channel, so thank you very much, and good luck fishing out there. See you on the next one.